Hey, this is Bob Saget, and you're watching Fox and Friends on a full couch.
Thank you very much, the guy from Full House, Full Couch. It is, by the way, November 24th.
It is November 24th. But in some way, anyone who understands getting ready for Thanksgiving understands they want it to be the 23rd, so they have one more day maybe to make their list.
It's funny you should bring that up because Peter Johnson Jr. was saying he really didn't have time to do the show today because he had to go home and work on his giblets.
Working on the stuffing.
Are you getting the brine
or the
ready?
Dressing. No, brine?
You got to make sure you...
No, I don't like brine.
I brine.
It salts it up. I don't want it too salty.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a big briner.
Juicier, but not my liking. No brine. Dry for me.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind when you come over next time.
I'll come over. Thank you.
All right. It is Thanksgiving week, of course, this Thursday, but today all eyes on Ferguson, Missouri, and we start with a Fox News alert.
Police barricades are in place at the courthouse as the grand jury is set to reconvene in just a matter of hours.
Adam Housley is live outside the courthouse in Clayton. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning. We're about 15 miles or so from where the Ferguson protests have been taking place here in Clayton at the courthouse. The weather continues to be really the story here the last couple of days, keeping most people off the streets. It's been very cold and rainy, no different last night. I'm going to give you a live look here at the courthouse. Now, the one thing we can say is that no one really knows what's going to happen. There have been a lot of stories the last week about what's going to happen when, but really it comes down to the people that only know what's going on are the ones that are in that jury room. Now, we're told the grand jury is going to meet here today, but we've been told that before last week on days that they were meeting, and no one really knows for sure. But if they do meet today and a decision does come down, the barricades are up, and people have been preparing, as you might imagine, law enforcement all over the region has been preparing, especially here at the courthouse in Clayton. Now, yesterday on some of the Sunday shows, there was, of course, a lot of talk about what's been going on here, and the attorney for the Brown family was quite controversial in a number of points, insisting that this all has to really do with racism.
You know what? In America, we have a constitution. You have a right to trial by jury. And I have no doubt if they were to indict the police officer, he would be guaranteed his full constitutional rights of innocent until proven guilty. He would get every benefit of the doubt. I don't worry about the due process for Officer Wilson. I worry about the due process for the little black boy dead on the ground.
Back here live is those type of words that have really inflamed a lot of what's been going on here, as you might imagine, here at the Justice Center. Again, it's been pretty quiet the last couple of days. There was some protest a few days ago, and there have been small protests around the area, but nothing like we've seen or have saw last summer for sure, although it is expected to get much larger when the decision does come down. As you can tell, guys, here very early on, again, we've been told the grand jury will meet today, at least that's what the reports are, but really it comes down to only the people in that jury room know what's happening and if they'll be in this courthouse here behind me today and whether or not we'll get a decision. Back to you in New York.
All right, Adam Housley in Clayton, Missouri, about 20 miles away from Ferguson. Adam, we thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, luckily we got a lawyer on retainer here. So, Peter, the question, Friday we had heard, that they had wrapped up and people thought, oh, they're wrapped completely. They were just wrapped for the week. So going forward, what are they doing in that grand jury room?
Well, let's talk about that. There's been a lot of rumors and a lot of concerns. Let's talk about the W's of the grand jury.
Sure.
Who are these grand juries? We know that 7 men, 5 women, 9 white, 3 blacks. That is the composition, and that matches the composition of racial composition in the St. Louis area as well. What are they going to decide? They're going to decide to bring something called a true bill, meaning that there's probable cause to believe that the accused committed the crime for which he or she has been charged. And so it will range from involuntary manslaughter all the way up to some form of probably second-degree murder or no true bill, meaning there's no probable cause and no indictment. And this decision is made solely by the men and women of that county after deliberation, after hearing the witnesses. We know they've heard from Officer Wilson. They know we've heard from Fox News consultant Dr. Michael Bodden. We're not sure who else has testified, probably a lot of police officers, other medical examiners. So they'll have heard all the evidence and we'll make a decision based on that.
Is the timeline right now, because it's been 3 months, many are suspecting that they just can't come to a decision, is that what you assume at this point?
We don't
know.
They haven't met every day. Typically, they meet 1 day a week. We understand they've met more than 1 day a week, but not 5 days a week. And it's interesting for people to know this is based on the common law. And in a grand jury, there's a foreman, a forewoman elected.
Yes.
And they have the right to issue subpoenas. They have the right to decide which witnesses should be brought forward. So if they believe that more witnesses should be brought forward, they direct the prosecutors, say, we want witness X, we want witness Y, we want witness Z. So it's truly a people's jury.
So are you saying they're running it? The grand jurors are running the show?
Essentially, under the direction and guidance and leadership of the prosecutor. But if you have a strong grand jury, they can speak up and say, we don't have enough evidence, we want more evidence, we want more witnesses, and that's what happens. The prosecutor has an obligation to bring those people forward.
Well, in the meantime, tensions are running high. School district is closed, state of emergency, and 100 extra FBI agents dispatched to the area, awaiting them to possibly reconvene today.
And hundreds of civil rights lawyers convening in that area, allegedly to watch the police. How did that happen?
Well, yesterday on one of the Sunday chat shows, former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, squared off against attorney Eric Dyson. And Rudy brought up the accurate fact about, there's Michael Eric Dyson, the fellow he squared off against, about the amount of the number of people killed in the black community. And it sparked quite a debate. Listen to this.
I find it very disappointing that you're not discussing the fact that 93% of blacks in America are killed by other blacks. We're talking about the exception here.
First of all, most black people who commit crimes against other black people go to jail. Number two, they are not sworn by the police department as a agent of the state to uphold the law. So in both cases, that's a false equivalency that the mayor has drawn, which has exacerbated tensions that are deeply embedded in American culture. Black people who kill black people go to jail. Black people who kill black people go to jail. White people who are policemen who kill black people do not go to jail. If a jury can indict a ham sandwich, why is it taking so long?
How about 70 to 75% of the crime in my city?
How about your
takes
attitude
place
reinforces
in black
the
cities.
Problematic
all right, I think this is a debate
that prevails in the culture. So
this is a debate.
You reduce crime.
This is a debate.
When I become mayor, I'll do that.
Wait,
the
let's
white
not make
police
this.
officers won't be there if you weren't killing each other.
Hang on.
This is the defensive mechanism of white supremacy at work in your mind.
All right.
Not sure if taking off the glasses is the new rolling up the sleeves, but we are going to be excited here. That debate sparked a lot more on Twitter, Facebook. A ton of people fired up about this. And Rudy Giuliani is actually going to join us today, 7:15. You're not going to want to miss that.
He's
right
taking a lot of
Fox and
heat
Friends.
on the internets. I'm sure he wants to respond to that.
Yeah.